Once upon a time I was the king of the dial. I used to be a radio guy. What happened to me? I'm just another idiot with a pod.
JOQR
'll never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
That's it. Now I'm hearing myself come back. What did you change, Jay?
Hold on. Is that
Hold
better?
on. Yes. Yes.
How about that?
That is better.
I can't hear you. Okay.
We had this all working, and
we did.
And you broke it.
I pushed a button.
Yeah. Don't push any buttons.
Did you see the little thing back here?
What thing?
Over my shoulder.
Hang on a sec. There's a light up sign
For the Jay and Gary podcast.
Jay and Gary podcast. Awesome.
There you go.
We have a guest.
So I'm investing in this too, not just you and your little graphics.
Did you like the intro?
I couldn't hear it.
Couldn't hear it.
No.
But you can hear me.
I can hear you.
But you couldn't hear the intro.
No.
You heard. Oh, I know why. I forgot to turn on original sound for you musicians. We'll
Now you're bugging me every time we do this to do that, and I did it today.
You did good.
On.
Yeah, you did good.
Oh.
Well,
okay.
I had a Wirecast crash just before broadcast time. Speaking of which, let me just we'll do a quick double check. I should have done this during all the stuff I was doing, but I was having too much fun during the intro.
That we couldn't hear.
That you couldn't hear. We'll do that later. We'll play it again later. Okay, so YouTube on my phone, subscriptions, our show, live. You couldn't hear. We'll do that later. Yeah, it's working. We're live to the world.
Yay, we're live. Live.
Probably no.
Coming to you live.
Probably. My phone's still talking. Yeah, the idiot phone is still talking. What? I don't know how this works. Introduce our guest.
Oh, well, we didn't do the open to the show yet.
Yes, we do the open. First of all, it's not World War III. Wait a minute. Attention world. You can hear that, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. World War III has apparently not broken out yet, although I haven't checked in the past hour. But last I heard... Wait a minute, you're the newsman. What's last you heard?
The last thing I heard was that World War III hadn't broken out yet.
Okay. The last I heard was that Iran has said, we're done for now.
Yeah.
Unless Israel pokes the bear.
Yeah, they're just messing with them. Not like they could really, do anything. They're just trying to screw up the tourism. That's what I think, anyway.
Oh, I'm pretty sure it goes well beyond that.
Well, I'm sure it does, but it's not like Iran thinks it can beat Israel at anything.
I don't think anybody is weighing actual possibilities here. The belligerency goes beyond intelligence.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Microsoft Bing wants to tell me to do something. No, thank you, Microsoft Bing. I'm not interested. Okay, so
Last Minute Maid.
So Iran says we're done for now. Their representative at the UN says we're done. 300 drones and missiles sent into Israel is enough to make our point. Unless they want to do something. And what do you think the chances of that are going to be? I'm thinking pretty good.
You think so?
There'll be something. Yeah.
So it'll be World War III?
Will
we get involved in it?
Right now, Biden says no.
Yeah, other than just telling Iran to knock it off.
Yeah. Okay. But since that's the big thing, and everyone is going to go over to CNN to find out what's going on, you can stay here, and we're just going to goof off for a couple hours, and then we'll go back.
Both
and
of
see
you.
World War III is.
Both of you can stay here.
Yeah.
So. Well, anyway, so I am in the attic on the cul-de-sac.
Well, we're not ready for that. Are we ready for that yet?
I don't know.
I put the boilerplate in here because we haven't done boilerplate to let everybody know what this all is.
Oh, okay. This is the Jay and Gary Show.
It is a YouTube show.
And it is a podcast.
Which is the best way to listen.
Or it isn't.
Yes. And you can get it any place you can get your podcast, absolutely any place except not Spotify. And probably a bunch of others. I don't know.
And a website.
We got a website, which is not the Jay and Gary Show. It is Pierce Brothers Podcasting.
Because eventually we may expand into other things.
Yeah, we're when this really takes off, many more people are going to want to join our network.
If I'm still alive.
And become part of Pierce Brothers Podcasting. So,
like me?
Okay.
Our family members.
Yeah, our family.
Yes. And always remember and never forget, you don't have to watch the whole show. You can
just swoop down the timeline.
You can't do it now because we're live.
But for this show, you might want to just stay right here because you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Of course, if we're live, you can't swoop down the timeline because that hasn't happened yet. But what I'm saying now about being live will apply to the playback as well because I'll still be saying this on playback. Does that make any sense? I totally forgot this part of the show. Oh, wait, no, that's not the part I forgot. This is the part I forgot. From the studio in the bonus room above the garage on the north side of Fort Mill, South Carolina, in the shadow of Charlotte, the buckle of the Bible Belt, and the foot of Mount Belzoni, I am Gary Pierce.
In the attic in the cul-de-sac on Genevieve Court.
This is hard to do.
Just across the city limits from Champaign, Illinois, where the taxes are lower and we don't have sewer lines. And close to the home of HAL 9000.
The birthplace
of HAL 9000. And the Netscape Navigator and the Transistor. I'm Jay Pierce.
Dale, you got something to...
Yeah.
Go.
And from the fiery red crotch of Illinois, at the confluence of the the Ohio and Mississippi rivers, I'm Dale.
You are the blue dot in the ring of fire. So anyway, just to introduce people, that's my son, Dale. Number one son. Yep. And as I understand it, what popped up in my Facebook memories is that this is the anniversary of you winning Anthropology Student of the Year for juniors at SIU.
Outstanding Junior of the Year. Yeah.
Is that what it was? Okay. Yeah. And that was how many years ago?
11.
11 years ago? Wow.
Yeah.
And it's all been downhill from there.
Yeah.
Anthropology.
Yeah.
So do you work at that store in the mall?
No. I specialized in archaeology, which is a sub-discipline. And I don't work in that either. So.
He couldn't dig it.
Yeah. Academia is a very difficult thing to break into if you're not of a certain type.
I took an anthropology class in college. Back when what they were digging was still fresh because it was that ancient history. We just planted it and then they started digging it back up. And I did such a good job on it that they wanted me to investigate that as a career. I wasn't the least
They're
bit
hungry.
interested. Yeah, I wasn't interested, but I thought that was pretty cool. I thought I did a good job. And by the way, remember the last episode I said I was coming down with something? I'm down with it. I got worse, and then I got better, and now I'm getting worse again.
What is it?
I don't
You
know.
got
It's something
COVID again?
upper respiratory.
RSV?
I had an RSV shot, so hopefully not. I did go to the doc in the box, and they looked at, did an X-ray and stuff, and said, "We're not seeing anything real big." So they gave me some pills to quell this cough. But you're going to hear some coughing. I'll try to turn the mic off and remember to do that. But it's going to happen every now and then. I get about 3 minutes, and then I cough. 3 minutes, and then I cough.
You could take a cough drop. Smith Brothers. Remember Smith Brothers?
Yeah.
I loved those things as a kid. I'd just go buy them and eat them like candy. I never coughed.
All right, the show.
The show is the Rowdy. Yeah, so the Rowdy Facebook family, Community Standards, Takedown, and Total Eclipse podcasts.
I think I put in a few too many little Eclipse things there in the title.
Yeah, a lot of Eclipse things there.
Yeah.
So the Rowdy
I went
thing,
a little
I'll
bit
just say,
overboard.
we'll just go over this real quick, get it out of the way. I took some pictures because the family came over for dinner last week, and I made some really good, they even said so, teriyaki chicken and broccoli in brown rice with red pepper, ginger and stuff all cut up in it. Made my own teriyaki sauce with brown sugar and yada, yada, yada. But anyway, so I took pictures of it and posted it, and I just said, instead of, the Bocephus song, All My Rowdy Friends Are Coming Over Tonight, I said, All My Rowdy Family Came Over Tonight, so I made them dinner. And Facebook said I violated community standards.
And that was literally it. All my Rowdy family came over.
That's all I said.
And a picture
And
of
then
the
I had
family.
A picture of the family, a picture of the food, and a picture of Dale's sister. So that's all I did. And it violated community standards. So I appealed, and just as quickly it was accepted. They said, "Oh, our bad."
Welcome to the Dispute Appeal Winners Club. How does it feel?
It feels good, and it also feels good that I had my e-file income tax 1040 rejected 6 times, but it was finally accepted about an hour ago.
Don't make me laugh. Cough.
So I'm feeling pretty good about that, and all of the mistakes I was making were costing me money, so I'm happy they were pointing them out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm going to make... Last year, I made some mistakes, but they accepted it, but then the IRS came back and revised my whole thing, and I made like $4,000. I thought I was going to pay $1,500, and they gave me $4,000. So I was like, okay, cool. So the only
So
thing
you
I'll
could
say
afford
about-
that sign you had made in the background there.
Yeah. So the only thing that I... and this year with the return, I'm buying a lawn tractor. So
Your lawn is that big?
it goes up and down a hill in the front, and I'm almost 70 years old. So yeah.
You can't use it in the backyard because the backyard is where you got the bees.
Well, not all of the backyard. It's a big yard.
So the bees keep to their part of the yard.
Well, there are 2 pollinator. There is a pollinator garden, a zinnia garden, and I'm planting clover and milkweed.
So the bees don't live in the grass.
No, they actually, you know where the bees live? The bees live in the bird bath. I'd never seen bees swim in water before, but they get in the bird bath, and they just swim around. Whatever.
Okay.
And so anyway, that's that. So my taxes got accepted before the deadline, and that's a good thing. And so I will have enough back to buy a lawn tractor. I'm not used to getting money back, but when you retire and your income is cut by almost in half, and I kept for some reason, I had my budget set up that I would automatically pay estimated taxes as I went because I was doing some freelance work and stuff that wasn't getting a withholding. So anyway, I was paying that, and then I didn't have anything withheld from Social Security, so I was paying that and this and that. I paid way too much. So,
Okay.
so I got to stop doing that, and then I'll have the money as I go. But, it's really nice to have that so I can go buy my lawn tractor now. So the only thing is, it's down to between a Cub Cadet, a John Deere, or a Murray. Now, the Murray...
It's got the word Cub in it. You got to buy that.
No, the Murray is the cheap one. And if you go down and you do a little investigation, and I've been looking into this for about 5 days, Murray is MTD that builds the Cub Cadet anyway. And the John Deere is more expensive than everything. So you can save over the Cub Cadet $300 by buying the Murray version.
So the way that works is they build a bunch, and then they're at the quality control station at the end of the line. And the ones that are getting rejected, the ones that are passing, they get the Cub Cadet name on them.
No,
The ones that are rejected get the Murray name on them.
they're not any better. They're all the same thing. It's all
Okay.
the same. Just they put a different shell on it.
We're not supposed to be doing this right now, by the way. We're supposed to be being polite to our guest and getting to the topic.
Well, we're done with that.
Almost.
So-
There's one more thing that I was going to sort of billboard what's coming up. The other thing is you have been in a Facebook war with people about the NPR.
Oh, geez.
NPR getting pasted by. It was a guy that works for them, still works for them.
Yuri Berliner, he still works for him.
Still
He's
works
a
for
senior
them.
editor in business.
Yeah, and he's been criticizing the way NPR is currently bastion of left-wing activists. No, we're not talking about that now. I'm billboarding it. This is a billboard.
Okay.
So
We'll talk about it later.
And other tasks is assigned
Okay.
for later on.
And I was there on the NPR board during a lot of what he was talking
Shut
about.
up, Jay. We're not talking about that yet.
Well, I just wanted to let people know
Why
that I have
you
some-
want to stick around for Jay's insightful comments.
Exactly.
Okay, I get it.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about the eclipse. My wife Cindy was going to join us on the podcast. Dale saw the eclipse this year, and Cindy saw the eclipse. I did not. I saw partial. Jay, did you even stick your head out the door?
Yeah, we went outside, and I took a picture or two, but it was just the sun. We were supposed to have like a 97% eclipse, and I never saw that happen.
So
Whatever.
Cindy may join us.
I also didn't go to Woodstock, so missing stuff doesn't mean a lot.
Don't make me laugh. Makes me cough. Cindy may be able to join us. We're having a cat emergency. We have our oldest cat, 17 years old, who lived as a feral cat for 13 years in the woods and in a feral colony that we brought food and stuff. But she didn't always show up. She'd disappear for weeks and then come around for weeks. And then when we moved from the Raleigh area down here, she was 13 at that point, and we thought, let's see if we can domesticate her and bring her inside. Turned out to be pretty easy. She was in perfect health. 13 years in the woods, no dental stuff, no organs, no anything, just, fleas and worms. She had not seen a vet since the day she was spayed until we took her in after we trapped her. And then brought her back here, and now she's living inside and having all kinds of health problems. And right now she's not eating. So Cindy's at the emergency vet.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you'll find out something.
And we'll see if it's a drop off and she can come back. She'll try to get into the show at some point, but probably
She has several hours, so
yeah, probably too late. yeah. We could be going until World War III starts. Who
no,
knows?
I have to go. I have work to do. I have to finish dethatching my lawn.
And in theory,
I
I've
have
got
a short
another
window to get this done.
In theory, I've got another podcast to do later on today. We'll see.
Okay.
So we were going to talk about the eclipse. What I want to do is play a little video that I made back in 2017, because that's when I did see a total eclipse. and that was in Wyoming. I traveled all the way out to Wyoming to see the 2017 eclipse in the hopes of seeing good weather. And it turns out we had perfect weather. It was wall-to-wall blue sky, so everything worked out real well, and it was pretty awesome. And I shot some video of it. So I put this together in one of the Ham Radio Now shows. If you want to see the whole thing, it is, it's this one. It is Ham Radio Now, episode 343, called Totaled. But I'm just going to play the part where the eclipse actually begins, and it is seconds away from where I push the play button here, I think. There it goes.
Wow.
Now that is darker than it looked to the eye.
15 seconds. I'm afraid I'm going to have to...
Oh my God!
Here we go.
I see it in your glasses reflecting.
There are a bunch of people on the show. Open the exposure to automatic now. So now the camera makes it look much brighter than it really was.
There it goes.
But you'll still see it get darker.
Yeah, the shadows disappear at
Yeah.
totality.
And look at the horizon. Look at the orange horizon up here.
Here we go. It's gone. It is gone. Oh, wow. Oh. Now you understand. You cannot be prepared for this. You cannot. Oh my God.
I'm actually kind of proud of that reaction.
Okay, let me show you. This I think I can show you.
Looks
Oh
like a
wow, look
big
at that.
It gets better.
All the way down.
So you're hearing the voices of the other people on the show. Cindy was there, my friend Jeff and David. You can see a
That's-
star to the lower left.
Yeah, but that's
on.
what it looked like as we were all watching. Is it was
Wow.
that dark? Yeah. So this is
Yeah, that star was Regulus, it turned out. The brightest star
Okay.
in Leo.
Yep.
That is cool.
Wow, there's a star right next to the sun and planet.
That's Venus.
Venus is right by the sun?
To the right.
Here.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, we're not seeing Venus and not seeing anything in this picture because it's stopped down so much.
Yeah, what I'm seeing in the viewfinder now is about what I'm seeing with my eye.
Looked the same where you were, Cindy?
yeah. Exact
All
same
around
thing.
the perimeter.
You can see the little.
Now, this is
flares
naked
coming
eye.
up.
Looking at it naked eye. All around the perimeter is like red sunset. Let me show you that.
Not the perimeter of the sun, the perimeter of the planet, of the Earth. It's maybe not showing up quite so much here, but it was a very warm sunset-looking picture.
So
And
the timing of looking
I would
at it
like to
with
tell
your
you
naked
people that I
eye-
am burning my 2.5 minutes of looking into it. Okay,
The,
so
the
enough
timing
that.
of it, looking at it with your naked eye is something that I don't know if I'm comfortable with that, because there is a period when it's in full eclipse that you can do that and you're not going to get your eye burned out. But how do you know when that's ending and you're going to get your eye burned out if you don't stop looking quick enough?
If you want, I can play on down to that part where that happened, and then we can talk about what
Where your
the
eye
rest
got
of our
burned out?
experiences is. Yeah, where my eye got burned out. So this is
There's a forecast of how long it should last. At least there was for my area, so we kind of knew when it was about to go.
yeah, but this is what it looked like. Yeah, I think I'll never do that again.
Because it reminded me of being at my brother-in-law's house and he fired up the still. And there were like all these drunken people sitting around this still, and it was putting out the corn squeezins. And they were saying that
Hang on just a second, because this is it. This is
Comes
it.
the diamond ring. Can't look anymore.
That's it. That's it. Let me
Yeah, that was the thing that surprised me.
play that back one more
The
time.
diamond ring.
So us, we still
Yeah.
have to go.
Yeah.
Comes the diamond ring. Can't look anymore.
That's it. That's your clue.
Yeah, that was the thing that
Okay.
surprised me.
That's
is-
when to stop.
and that doesn't burn your eye out right there.
At that point, just no. And it becomes too bright to look at.
So when you're doing the stuff with the still, there's a point where the alcohol, it turns into methanol, and you will go blind if you drink it. And so I was really trusting all of these drunk people.
Everybody's drunk.
To be able to determine exactly what that time was, because you want to hit right on the verge of it, because that's when you get the best alcohol, I guess. So I don't know this stuff firsthand, although I was there. And it was pretty good. The moonshine makes you want to holler, hi-de-ho, burns your tummy, don't you know? Chug-a-lug, chug-a-lug.
Okay, I'm going to play...
okay, I'm done with that stuff.
I'm going to play the video that Cindy made, and then we will talk about our experiences here.
Yeah, because I'd be interested to see if that's what Dale saw.
Yeah, so here's Cindy's.
Here we go. Come on, clouds, get out of the way, please.
Of course.
I'm a little embarrassed. He took vertical video.
Oh, wow. Look at that. Yeah.
Oh, it's coming out. It's coming out, right?
Oh my gosh, look at this. Whoa, well, it doesn't show real well. Oh, come on, come on, come on, come on. Come on, come on. It's not there yet. Okay.
We got a few minutes. It looks like a light bulb.
Oh my gosh, look at this. Oh yeah, the ring. You can see the ring. Woo! Oh wow. We did it. We did it. Oh my gosh. And it is dark. Look at this. Oh my gosh, this is going to last for like 3 minutes.
Can you take a picture with your camera or not?
Oh, yeah, you can. Absolutely, you can.
So
I'm doing
I got
it
a
right
question.
now. Let's see.
Hang on, almost done.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
I
zoomed
see, yeah.
in 3 times. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Okay.
So because you can't look at it directly, can you look at it if you're holding your camera up and shooting a picture of it? Can you look through the viewfinder and watch it?
Your
Yes.
camera can't produce the solar rays that would damage your eyes. So.
There you go.
Yeah, what I did, most cameras probably can't stop down enough to see it until it's total. And once it's total, any camera can take a good picture of it. Right behind me is a picture I took with my phone. And what I did was I took my Eclipse glasses and just held them up in front of the lens of the camera and adjusted the video, the exposure of the camera a little bit, and then got, that little crescent that you can see behind me.
I'll try to share a photo that I took.
Oh, am I set to be able to show one of those? I'm not sure.
I'm sharing a photo on my screen right now.
Yep.
That's cool.
It's gonna take me a minute to be able to get to put that on the screen. I'll work on that in just a second. It's a screen capture. It's the little monitor. And
actually,
there we go. So you took that with your phone?
Yeah, just naked with my phone. And you can even see the red flash. You can see solar flares around the edge through the whole thing.
Wow.
Yeah. It was much clearer, though, and the light was a different color. It was like those, I don't know if they're xenon, whatever the super bright headlights are when a truck's in your rear view mirror. It was like that surrounding the black circle.
So did you rent out space in your yard for like $800 for people to park and watch?
I thought about it. There were people parking in like gas station parking lots and unfinished cul-de-sacs and commercial areas.
Now you were in Carbondale, Illinois.
Marion, yeah.
Yeah, that area. Downstate Illinois. Not all the way down. Not as far down as Cairo.
Cairo.
Yeah, no.
I said that right?
About 15
Cairo.
miles north of Cairo.
Which is pretty much at the southern tip. Literally where those rivers come together that you were talking about.
Right. The actual confluence.
And Carbondale has the unique distinction of being one of the few places in the country, maybe the only place in the country, that was in total eclipse in 2017 and 2024.
Right.
But in 2017, a cloud came over the stadium.
Well, the stadium, yeah.
The town, I was downtown personally, and there were hundreds of people in the streets, and it covered it there.
Oh, man. You spend all of that time and all of that money. Well, you didn't have to spend the money, but the time, and you get there and you rent the hotel rooms that are inflated to like $500, $600.
Oh, amazingly, yeah.
And, you know, Motel 6, we'll keep the light on for you. It's going to cost you $500 tonight. But
the Motel 6s only went up to 350.
Oh, so anyway, then the cloud comes over. But it was perfect this year, and there were, God, I read somewhere there were, I don't know how much the stadium holds. I don't even know what it's called anymore. It used to be McAndrew Stadium, but whatever it's called. 30,000 people or so. That's like way more than have ever. That's like the whole season's attendance at Saluki football games.
So, Dale, you heard my reaction in 2017, and you heard Cindy and all the people around me, and you heard Cindy's reaction here. How did that compare to what you were seeing this year? How did you feel?
Well, I was sitting in my backyard with my wife, and we had it for 4 minutes up there, and we were just kind of chatting and looking back up, and still there. It's still there. It wasn't quite that, built up and exciting.
And so at the moment of totality, I mean, I could have been all by myself. I think my reaction would have been the same. Just it gripped me. And I'm not a deep spiritual person. I don't have these kind of experiences, but something, just kind of, punched me in the chest and said, this is different in the rest compared to all the rest of your life.
I'm a bit of a meteorological bucket lister, I guess, and I try to see as many things in the sky as I can. I think the auroras are about the only thing I haven't really seen that you can in this continent and hemisphere. So I was very excited to see it, but I'm a stand with my arms folded at a concert type anyway, so I wouldn't have had a big reaction.
But it does sound like a trip to Iceland is on the necessity list to watch the lights. I'd like to see too. We used to see those, the Northern Lights. I don't know if you can help me, Gary. Was it when we lived in Winnetka or Detroit?
Well, they were both about the same latitude, and I don't remember seeing them. So
I think it was Winnetka because I think it was we went out on the lake or something, Lake Michigan.
Yeah, it would be pretty low in the sky up there. So you'd have to, Michigan would be the wrong direction because that would give you an east. Well, maybe depends on where they were happening.
It's like we were only a mile from Lake Michigan, so it wouldn't change that much. But
Lake Michigan would be to the east, and so the Northern Lights, they call them that because they're in the north. But you have at least 180 or a view straight north up the shore. So.
Right.
Maybe
whereas you can't do that at the house unless you're on the roof.
Yeah.
The Gary and Bob escape roof.
We spent plenty of time on the roof. So Dale, you going to go for another total eclipse in whenever they occur again?
I suppose if I'm conveniently here again, path of totality, I'll look up and see it.
I'm sorry I missed this one. I came back from skiing and came down with stuff, and just wasn't quite up to being able to take an airplane trip. So Cindy went on her own, and since I'd seen 2017, it's like, okay, well, I have seen one. Plus, the weather forecast was dismal for a wide swath of where this eclipse was going to happen, and as it turned out, almost everywhere got a good view. Even though the forecast was bad, you could see all the clouds that were around Cindy and just moved out of the way just in time.
It was fantastic. The first time in 2017, that didn't happen this time. Even though we got 4 minutes of totality this time, we got, I don't know, it felt like 30 seconds or a minute last time. But when it got dark, when all of the streetlights came on, the crickets and the cicadas, because it was in August, I guess, came up really loud, and that made it feel otherworldly. It didn't happen this time because it was too early for both of them in the season.
Yeah, we didn't notice anything here with our 97%.
1% made a difference.
Of the total solar
Well, I think we were
eclipse.
98.7%. We were very close, but if we'd driven an hour south of where we live, we would have been in the total territory. So, but to get there would have taken about 6 hours. I understand. Traffic was a nightmare. On I-57 and US 45 and State Route 1, everything. 130, all of it was jammed. So
here's
the influx of...
Here's some interesting video. This is
cities and towns
from the space
situated
station
along the path of totality.
looking down at the eclipse.
A total solar eclipse happens when the moon passes between
This is
the
a
sun and
NASA
Earth,
video, so I'm not going to get a
completely blocking
takedown
the face of
issue.
the sun.
Oh, come on, then. Come on, guys. I want to.
Boarded a Soyuz
That's not what I want to
today.
see.
They spent 6 months aboard the station.
I guess we're only going to get a few seconds of that, but that's what it looks like. And where areas are talking about only seeing it for a few seconds, you can see how fuzzy the edge really is. And so if the eclipse is passing you and you're sitting over here on right on the edge of the totality, yeah, you get totality, but only for a few seconds. You don't have to go very deep into it before you get almost all of it. And right down the center line is not that much different from, say, 50% toward the edge. But right on the edge, you're only going to see a little bit. But Dale, I'm kind of wondering when in 2017, when it was cloudy, it still got dark. Almost all the other effects, except for being able to see it, still happened, right?
Yeah, and the clouds were a kind of a high, cirrus layer, and you could see through them a little bit, so you could see the shape of it. And I got some pictures of it shooting through the clouds. It wasn't a total loss.
Yep. All right. I don't know if I'll want to go see another one. Cindy's talking about there'll be some before the 2044 or something like that, 2046, somewhere in there. I'll be in my 90s if I make it that far. The odds of traveling.
It doesn't sound like it.
Yeah, I know how I'm going to die. I'm going to die desperately gasping for my last breath. That's how that's going to work. But there'll be some more crossing Europe and Asia in the next decade or so. And I think Cindy's becoming an eclipse traveler. So we'll see.
That would be fun. I think that would be fun. I don't necessarily get, it's kind of like going to concerts. It's the same thing as Dale said. It depends on who it is, but sometimes it's like, it's fun to have said you were at the concert, but it's all the stuff around it. It's getting there. It's finding a bar to do pre-concert drinking at, post-concert drinking, hotel room to stumble back to, free breakfast at the hotel, all of that stuff. The actual main event, depending on who it is, I've been to concerts where I couldn't care less, but I've been to concerts where I wish they would have gone on forever. Every time I see Willie Nelson, I wish it would go on forever. Or James McMurtry, another one. So, or Margot Price.
Does Willie Nelson invite you into the bus every time you go to his concert, or was that one time?
No, that was one time, and he has no idea who I am. That was one
Jay's
time.
Good friend Willie Nelson.
Yeah, my personal best friend. That was one time, and it was 40 years ago. So I'm really sure
he smoked
has
dope
no
in his.
recollection. Yes, I did.
And you inhaled.
Yes, I did. Sorry, Dale, I didn't.
Oh wow, that rocks me to the core. I wouldn't have expected that ever.
My son's on here. I have to watch what I say.
I smoke weed every day. It's fine. I live in Illinois. It's legal. I have mental health issues.
It is legal. There are no issues
Not
anymore.
shocking to hear.
I mean, it's So
I smoked almost all my weed in Illinois, but it was not legal.
No, it wasn't legal.
But not back then. But my attitude was, you're really probably not in very much trouble unless you go up to a cop and blow some in his face or ask him for a light.
Depending, if it's a roided up cop, they might do it and confiscate your weed and take it.
Well, I mean, this was back in the 80s for me.
Yeah, well, there were roided up cops then.
Oh yeah.
Oh, but I have to put the disclaimer on. There's a lot of good cops too.
Yes, there are.
But there are a lot of roided up ones. What I mean by that is they're just. I guess the description, the picture in your mind would be a large pickup truck with a loud diesel tailpipe right about at your face level when it drives by you if you have your window open. And those xenon headlights Dale was talking about that are up because they got the truck jacked up so they go right into your rearview mirror and blind you while you're driving.
So the truck nuts don't hit the ground while it's driving.
Yes, that's right. The truck, it has to be jacked up so the nuts on the tail, on the
do we have to go get the
trailer hitch
video we played from the last show?
No,
do your balls hang low?
You don't have to. But, speaking of that, we can transition into what Dale's been up to lately. And he's learned, how to measure a toilet so that won't happen. That won't be a problem. And I never thought that would be an issue, but he took meticulous measurements.
Water level.
For the length.
Hydraulic pressure.
The bowl, the height, and, everything else. So, and we got a toilet.
No round toilet seats.
No, we had to get the elongated, and we found one that measured up to all of it, and it was actually the least expensive or close to it.
Second least, yeah.
Second least, yeah. But the toilet's there waiting to be put in. The vinyl flooring is, what's the status? Did that mud
it's rolled up. It's rolled up so I don't mess it up while I do everything else.
Oh, okay.
It's so convenient.
But it's there and it feels good. It was Katie tested. Katie tested it with her bare feet, and it felt good to her. And so that'll go. The surround is in. All the plumbing's done now and not leaking. Sweet.
Fingers crossed.
And because everything, and I'm trying to work with Dale so he'll know how to do this plumbing stuff. So he was doing it, actually. I was coaching him a little, but every time we'd get into a little bit farther, something would break because the house was plumbed with CPVC, which is no longer, I don't even think it's code anymore. You can't build a house with it. It was kind of like aluminum wiring. So anyway, if you put any stress on it, as we found out, when you're adapting to a different kind of like compression fitting or whatever for the valve, to the infinity turn valves, we had to put the quarter turns on, right? And for the water supply for the vanity and the toilet. And if you move anything at all, then it starts leaking or it cracks, or it's just, so I think in the future we'll get in the crawl space, Dale, and replace all of that stuff. But not right now because you got to get the toilet, the bathroom done. So,
no, I simply need a sanitary, trustworthy place to take care of hygiene.
And it's going to be a nice bathroom.
Because I didn't have that before. So.
Yeah, it's going to be a really nice bathroom when you get done. You're doing a really good job.
Welcome to another episode of This Old House on the Pierce Brothers podcast.
Yeah, so
this old podcast,
a not so old house. A house that's either 20 or 30 or 34 years old.
Yeah, 95 or 2000s is
that's
what's
not
on
really
the title.
Old.
No. It is a very, very special kind of what's the word? Bespoke construction, really. As in eclectic and proprietary, just lots of hillbilly shit behind the walls.
I know. Everything we went to do was so non-standard. You get the tub surround in 3 pieces, and you find out that, nothing is square, nothing is level. Nothing is anything. So you're shimming and you're trying to do all this stuff and popping the stuff in and out and shaving stuff down. And so it's in and it looks good, and it's going to be a really good bathroom. So Dale was very good at working it. So getting a good experience at how nothing is standardized. And when you go to the store to get something, they'll have everything you need but one thing. So you got to go back and get that other thing. Anyway, gives you more chance to impulse buy.
Not that I expected everything to be perfect, but I have been amazed at just how everything breaks or everything requires a second try.
I know. It's crazy. But you got a new lawnmower, so that's fun.
Oh.
And if you want a broken up old fiberglass tub surrounding a toilet, it's in Dale's side yard.
That's why I'm going to smash the toilet with a sledgehammer and throw the pieces away over time.
That'll be fun. Get out your anxieties.
I'm dialing down your Facebook page because I remember pictures of this stuff, but I'm way down the page and I'm not finding them. So
there were some initially. I've got some newer ones to put up. I just haven't got to it yet.
Yeah, I've got a picture since I know how to do this.
Okay, and I know where to go get it now.
Here's some drywalling in progress.
There you go.
Kind of thing. Should get a before picture.
You got to paint that pink before you put the toilet.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm gonna paint the entire room as soon as I get it sanded, leveled out.
And you have to get it done before your daughter's born.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Is I've got like 2.5 weeks.
Maybe.
Yeah.
You got a kid on the way?
Oh yeah. That's the big thing in my life right now.
I would guess. Yeah.
You got a great niece coming.
Wow.
Right.
And she's named after your great grandmother. Did you know that?
I tell you that? My great grandmother?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do I have a great? I mean, I'm sure I have one. I don't know who they are.
She had 8 of them, or 4 of them, right? So it's Charlotte. That would be the mother of your grandpa Pierce.
Okay. You've done some investigating that that I've never bothered to do. So my history only goes back as far as grandparents, and I don't know anybody beyond that.
Yeah, it all comes from a Bible that my grandpa Pierce, your dad, gave me 25 years ago. This old Bible wrapped in this yellow plastic, and it was from 1849. And I don't think anyone had ever looked through it, but I found a handwritten family history of this Charlotte Pierce in it. So I know how we got here, basically.
Yeah, I think I may have seen that Bible once. Well, did Trump sell you that Bible?
No, oh my God.
Get a Bible, get a free pillow.
Make myself laugh and I'll start coughing again. All right.
Oh, God. What about that? What about those Bibles? Does the guy, is there any trick he's not going to pull? I mean, come on. It's so cliche now. It's just ridiculous. So, anyway, that's enough about that. Everybody knows about that.
This is the Facebook post that got you in trouble, right?
Yeah, it is.
All my Rowdy family came over tonight, so I made them food. That was the text.
Yeah.
And then we removed your post. Why did this happen? It looks like you tried to get likes, follows, shares, or video views in a misleading way.
I was misleading people because we're not rowdy.
You could have been.
I have a theory on this because before I quit Facebook, I used to do a thing to people that I didn't like, which was report every single thing they posted. And Facebook is not great at enforcing its standards, checking for context or anything. So oftentimes you could just get things pulled. And I think maybe you might have done something recently that gained you a follower or two like that.
Me?
So I think that's a strong possibility, yeah, that you just have somebody trolling you.
I'll have to go through my list and cut some people out.
Yeah.
I had seen the same reaction, the same comment from several other people, totally disconnected from you, though, that were having that trouble over the past couple of days.
So and I
maybe
had trouble.
Somebody retweaked their algorithm a little bit and kind of went overboard.
I got troubled about something I posted months ago, and it was about the guy that I know who was the editor of the newspaper out in Kansas, the Star, and what was the whole thing about now? Oh, it was, a whole big thing about the cops coming in and raiding his newspaper because he was reporting on corruption in the city and this and that. So it became a big story of how the small town government was up against a pretty intelligent guy in his newspaper, and they were making themselves look like idiots. He wasn't casting them as idiots. He was just reporting, and they were looking like idiots because they were. So anyway, that became a controversial thing apparently, and I and several other friends got notices that we were dipping our toe in violation territory for posting that. So I'm like, whatever. Facebook's a private business. They can do whatever the hell they want. I don't need to be on Facebook.
And yet
fun.
you are.
It's fun.
You're prolific on Facebook. You make up for Dale being missing from Facebook.
Well, he was pretty good when he was Laser Bro. It was, I could never pronounce your first name on there. Aguilar. So it was, it's fun. That's all I'm going to say. And it's a way to keep in touch with old friends.
It is the only reason why you and I are communicating.
Yeah, it is.
Today.
That's right. We reconnected through Facebook.
Yeah. I mean, I would see you every few years when I would be going through your territory for a conference or something that I was covering. Mm-hmm. I would make a phone call and say, "What city are you living in now?"
And I never came out to visit you, but I sent a surrogate out recently with a pizza.
Yeah, it was a while ago, but yeah.
Well, within the last
couple
time
years
we saw each other.
Yes. Yeah, I think the last time I saw you was 2017 or so.
Well, you had moved to wherever you live now. Can't remember the name. Bedford Falls?
Fort Mill.
Fort Mill.
Remember the studio in the bonus room above the garage on the north side of Fort Mill, South Carolina?
So it turns out a good friend of mine here, Cecil Bilbo, was putting on Facebook that he was visiting his relatives in Fort Mill. And I said, hey, my brother lives in Fort Mill. So he DMs me and he goes, where do they live? And I gave him your address. And then apparently he shows up with a pizza.
Yeah. Surprised the heck out of us. And it was cool.
He's a really cool guy. Cecil he teaches, he goes all over the country and holds seminars and teaches sprinkler systems, fire suppression sprinkler systems. That's his whole bailiwick. And it's cool. And he's a survivor, man. Part of his, he had part of his brain removed. And they sewed him back up and everything's fine. And he's a very cool guy. So
I'm trying to make a whole bunch of Trump jokes out of that, but
you think Trump had that, but it didn't go so well?
Yeah. Parts removed and never replaced.
So I learned from a cab driver in Las Vegas, apropos of nothing, but kind of connected, that he could teach me how to give somebody a lobotomy with a coffee stirrer.
I told you not to do that. Make me laugh.
You can stick it in through the eye and you can get back in where the brain is and scramble around a little bit. I haven't tried that yet. But So next, we did Dale's bathroom. We did the Eclipse. We had the Rowdy takedown. You want to do the NPR controversy?
Oh yeah. Okay, so I happen to have that up here on the. Well, I don't have the whole thing. I just have your initial Facebook post, I think, from it here. Your good friend Jeff Crines says, "What saith Jay?" From a New York Times, a New York Times article that says NPR in turmoil after it is accused of liberal bias. I'm pretty sure if I try to look at this, it's going to be paywalled.
No, I don't think so. Oh, the New York Times would. Yeah. I thought you meant that Republican right-wing rag that he gave it the story to. Which to answer,
I don't see a way. I don't see a way in.
Yeah. So there's an antagonist who's been bugging me on WVIK's Facebook page, and I was trying to set her correct, but she just keeps going and going. So anyway, it's the reason NPR didn't run the story, for all who are criticizing them. Why didn't you run that? You didn't run Hunter Biden's laptops. Well, it's the same thing. Here's the deal. The story didn't come to them. The story went to somebody, an organization. I won't even say news organization. It went to an organization that would publish it without trying to fact check or vet the information. New York Post is where they went with Giuliani and company went with the Hunter Biden laptop story, and NPR is not in the habit of taking stories out of the New York Post. So others will spread it around. And it's just, you know what? NPR did look into it, and there was no evidence other than what these guys were saying. And now one of the guys has come back and said, nah, it wasn't true anyway. So, you know, but people just won't leave it alone. They're still going after Biden's laptop or anything they can get on Biden. He had a parking ticket once, maybe, you know, scofflaw, you know, all of this stuff. And look at Trump. Look at this maniac going around just, you know, whatever. And, but it's a witch hunt. But you know what? You know, Congress is investigating Biden. Congress isn't investigating Trump. That's not. Well, it's not Joe Biden.
They did that already.
They did. And but the charges that are against him now, Biden doesn't have any control over that. Neither does Congress. These are federal judges or federal prosecutors or state prosecutors. They're state prosecutors. So anyway, they're being brought at the state level. It's not a federal thing. You know, the votes stuff. I mean, they already impeached him twice on this stuff. But the loyal Republicans in the Senate, you know, wouldn't convict. So whatever. It's just a mess. But I think Biden might have, you know, touched somebody at one time, you know, touched somebody's elbow inappropriately maybe or something. I don't know what he did. But they say he's and now there's the thing that his daughter says that he used to take showers with her.
What? Where are you getting this?
Well, this is all over the place. This was a diary of hers that was left in a house she moved out of, and the people that moved in the house sold it to, and I can't remember the name of that rag. It was a group, right-wing thing. Anyway, they couldn't vet that the stuff in the diary. They couldn't actually say that it was hers. And this is crazy stuff. Now you got me doing it. So this is crazy stuff that's going around because they're trying to find anything, absolutely anything that they can find on the guy.
Is this Florida woman who stole Ashley Biden's diary in 2020?
Yeah, that's it. Mm-hmm. But nobody could vet that any of the statements that have come out of it from anybody were actually in it. So
CNN won't be paywalled here, so
it's just read it. It's crazy stuff.
Florida woman, of course.
Yeah.
Sentenced to a month in prison and 3 years probation for selling the diary of President Joe Biden's daughter to Project Veritas.
That's it, Project Veritas. Oh, God.
But what's the dirt that was supposedly in it?
That she was saying that she has drug problems or PTSD or whatever because he used to shower with her, but she can't remember exactly if he really did or if that's something that she thought up or what.
That's not in this story.
So he's, they're trying to prove that Joe Biden is a pedophile. That's what they're trying to do.
Oh, well, that shouldn't be hard. Everybody's a pedophile.
Yeah, well, they can't come up with anything that'll stick. And, it's like what was that whole damn thing in the basement of the pizza parlor with Hillary? It's like, come on, guys, come on. You're making yourselves look stupid. But you know what? The base doesn't care. The base eats it up because you know what? They might be stupid. Might be. So the deal with NPR is this guy is it wasn't just one story. He was saying that the current he was on the Mueller report.
Yes, and the current crop of reporters staff all have a more definite, specific liberal agenda. Mm-hmm. And so the president, chair of NPR, responded to it.
Yeah.
And
so did the vice president of news, and I know her. And I was there when those stories were coming out, and when they were coming, I was on the board, and I trust their judgment in whether they were stories to cover or not. It wasn't a bias that they didn't cover the Hunter Biden, and information did come out against Trump from the Mueller reports and investigation. The COVID thing, what are you supposed to do? Is NPR supposed to go and all of a sudden be the one who can say definitively that it leaked from the lab or whatever in China? So I don't know what what does he want? What is, he sounds like a dissatisfied employee of some kind.
But he's still there.
Me. Well, yeah, because there's a union.
Okay. It's interesting that he wants to stay there, I guess.
Well, if he doesn't like it that much, why would he want to stay there other than the really good jobs? But I've heard from other people, I'm still connected. I know people. And there's some truth to what he's saying, perhaps. There's also. If you're looking at things from a 30,000-foot view, there's no question that NPR is left of the dead center line. Depending upon where you're standing and looking at the center line. If you're standing on the center line, maybe not. If you're standing to the right of the center line, they're to the left of you. That's how I look at it. There was, and I said this on here, nobody sits in there at 4 a.m. and has a conference call and goes, this is the stance we're going to take. Now, having said that, I've given this a lot of thought, and I see where he's coming from on some of this stuff. The world has changed, and NPR is changing with it. Back in the day, 25 years ago or whatever, and I've been involved in this for 50 years, not just 25. So he's a newcomer. So, and everybody thought NPR was the liberal bastion back in the 70s because it was so different. But here's the deal. The deal is this. The world has changed. Now we have LGBTQ, we have trans, we have not just blacks and whites, but we have people of color. We have Muslims. We have,
we had all those things 50 years ago. They just didn't make the news.
But we weren't paying attention to them and giving them consideration. Now we are. And so now NPR is, and he doesn't like it apparently. The younger reporters at NPR are more sensitive to this kind of thing. And so NPR has worked to be sensitive to it. And this is all just my ascertainment. I'm not on the board anymore, and I don't call any shots. Never really did. The board doesn't call the shots on this stuff. The board has a fiduciary responsibility.
Someday we'll do a show where you tell us what the board does.
Yeah, I could. Anyway, the deal is this. NPR is trying, is it going overboard? Maybe. In trying to accommodate the younger employees who have different values and beliefs. And at the same, and it's not just the younger. I mean, I'm right up there with them, and I'm old. But so here's the deal: the public has changed too. NPR's trying also to reach a younger audience because their old white male Subaru driving audience is dying off, and when they die off, unless they leave you $1 million in their will, they're not going to be contributors anymore. Right? And so there's a lot of things at play here, but it is true to say that some of this probably led to NPR becoming somewhat of the network of the aggrieved, and that turned some people off. Even the Subaru driving, whatever. And part of it, too, is that some of the stations run classical music, and I will tell you for a fact, having run 2 of them that did news and classical, the classical audience tends to be older, white, more conservative males.
Now, is it...
And they will tell you, I listen to your station for the music, but I turn it off when the news comes on. I go,
yeah.
Good, we'll support the music.
Yeah. Is it across the board, all the programs, or are there some specific programs that get isolated? And is it Morning Edition and All Things Considered, or is it some of the other daytime shows, the other talk shows?
I suppose it's all of it. The topics that are covered on 1A and Here and Now. And some of the weekend shows.
Because those programs get to go into much more depth. I mean, they'll do a story for a half hour or the whole show, where Morning Edition and All Things Considered are going to do 6 minutes and then move on.
Yeah. Actually, it's 4 minutes or 6.5. So I think that the issue here is that, yes, maybe they go a little bit overboard in the story selection and what they investigate. And maybe there's some stuff that's not getting covered, but to answer conservatives, and they're all outraged. This is the outrage of the day. God, you're getting me going.
I thought I was going to have the coughing problem.
I know, and I was dethatching the lawn, so I'm all
you're all thatched up.
And so I think the problem is this. The problem is this for the conservatives, that they're outraged, and they're going to be outraged, and NPR is not as willing to just give them a blank canvas to paint their ridiculousness on, and they're calling them out during interviews, and they don't like that. If you noticed, and boy, listen to the BBC. The BBC basically, NPR's nice about it. Oh, well, that's been fact-checked, and it's been found to be false, and and then they move on.
Is the BBC saying you're full of crap?
Yeah, pretty much. The BBC goes, well, they don't say bullshit, but they pretty much say it. They go like, well, that indeed is not true. And
that's bull puckery.
Well, pretty much. Bull hockey. So, bullocks. Balls. So, I think that basically that's what you're finding, if you get my drift.
Well, yeah, that's the thing is these days, what used to pass for a conservative argument and discussion, where you could have a discussion about policies and things, and you might disagree with them, but you would say, well, it's a legitimate thing to be saying the government should do or should not do, but it's not stupid.
You can have a discussion
Yeah.
about it, but when it's just silly,
These days,
you
the
can't.
stuff just comes up and it's just stupid.
And I think the other thing is that having run public radio stations for a long time, the money comes from the older white Subaru driving people who are married to NPR. And NPR meets their values, or at least it did. I don't know if that's changing with the nature of some of the stories, but I don't think NPR's really lost its way. It's trying to change with a changing society. The problem being that the newer generations aren't philanthropic in the same way as the old guard, the boomers and up are. The boomers are the big ones that support NPR. And Generation X, anybody here in Generation X?
Boomer.
They're a little more self-centered, and not quite as philanthropic unless there's something directly in it for them. This is what I find, and it's nothing against anybody. It's just the trends.
Well, I have definitely noticed.
So Gen Z, we haven't figured out yet how they want to pay for stuff. Yeah. They tend to like to tip you and pay for something as you go, but they don't like paywalls.
Which gen label are you, Dale?
Well, cusper millennial, elder millennial, if one wants to categorize me. My parents were raw baby boomers, and I was born in '84, so I don't meet all of the traditional millennial requirements, but I identify with that, I suppose.
Yeah, I think you are.
Speaking of all of this, though, as a millennial Prius driver, far leftist who has listened to NPR my entire life and has a vested interest in it, I think they don't go far enough to rebuke idiotic things that a lot of Republican politicians bring up. When they're interviewed, local and national, I've always been angry at them for that, especially since Obama times, basically, and that kind of veiled that opposition that's like, oh, we're not racist, but it's very obviously racist. All of that stuff that's snowballed into what we have now. I don't think they challenge it, rebuke it enough on NPR.
Where you live, you see a lot of ball sacks hanging off of trailer hitches on pickup trucks.
I see shiny pickup trucks that are worth more than my college degree. Burn 2 gallons of gas just to go out on the stoplight every single day.
And these are people who are bitching about inflation and how much they're having to pay for milk. So I think that you're in a pretty good position to answer this question. What made you go to the left?
Oh. Do we have more than 2 hours?
Yeah. All the time you want.
No, just it really easy. How forceful, ignorant, and oblivious the people around me trying to turn me into a Christian redneck were, and how obviously wrong all of it was, even when I was a child. It made me look into other people, other ways of life, and generally, when you look outside of at least where I'm from, you find the world. It's speaking to the whole NPR thing that reality, science, all kind of have a liberal bias, a left bias anyway. So just learning about the world.
So why would science have a left bias?
It unfortunately exposes that a lot of things held dearly by a lot of people are just not based in reality. It's an inconvenient thing that exists in opposition to those beliefs.
So you're saying that facts and the truth tend to be on the left a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why NPR is judged to be on the left a little bit, because they deal in facts and truth and not speculation and crap that people hand off to the New York Post and whatever this thing is that Uri Berliner gave his thing to, or Breitbart, or what's that idiot with
Alex Jones?
Yeah. How did I just had to say?
How could I guess? That idiot, that Alex Jones, of course.
I have a relative through marriage who's a huge Alex Jones person. Oh, God.
Yeah. So I don't see, when I was saying, I think, NPR is left of center. They are not left the way Fox News is maybe the mild version these days, the way those folks are to the right. And they're not to the left the way MSNBC is to the left, because MSNBC spends a lot of time with opinions.
They're not really a news network.
Sometimes they are and sometimes they're not, but they're an analysis and opinion network for the most part.
Yeah. Which CNN became, but now they've kind of reeled it back.
Dialed it back to a large extent. So and I don't think that NPR is even as opinionated as some of the stuff that you'll get on CNN. So.
No, and people will always, yes, story selection can be influenced by, it's influenced by somebody deciding that's a story that's worth covering, or not. So, it's all, you can't say that your life experience doesn't weigh in. Nobody's totally objective. Nobody's dispassionately objective. I don't believe. You've got something that your life brings to it. Except me. I didn't bring anything to my reporting. I just looked at the blank sheet of paper and said, okay, well, this is what they did.
Called the balls and strikes.
That's what I'm going to report. Yeah. Anyway, that's how I believe it to me. Okay.
Just to qualify my comments as well, I'm a former journalist who has participated lightly in the game as well.
That's right.
I was gonna ask to get your lifelong analysis of having grown up with a father who was deep in media. Now I
wasn't just in media.
I know a little bit about how you felt about growing up with the ability of, say, your uncle to point a video camera in your face every time he saw you.
Yeah.
And a lot of your childhood you're at the early end of a childhood that was fully documented from beginning to end.
Yeah.
And
I have audio tapes.
Yeah.
I do too. I have so many tapes. I'm afraid to play them, actually, because I'm afraid they'll turn to dust.
I just digitize them.
I just sent one to your dad.
Yeah.
That we'll be digging some things out of. I don't even know if you might not remember. You were 3 years old.
I remember it.
I was heading to my radio job, my midlife crisis career radio job in Lake Havasu City. And on the way out there, I stopped and visited you guys, and I think we went over to the WILL studio, or one of the stations that Jay was involved in. And we just sat down and rolled a recorder for about an hour, which, having listened to it back recently for the first time in 30 years or so,
it's pretty cool.
I think that it is documentary evidence of child abuse.
What?
Sorry, we'll dig into more of that on a future
child labor, at least.
Child labor,
kind of like child labor.
Yep. But you held. I will say you held your own.
Yeah.
Jay, are you playing that?
And when I say I remember it being there, not just listening to the recording.
Dale, can you say, Uncle Gary, it's hot outside?
Yeah.
Every once in a while, we were trying to get you to parrot stuff back to us. Mm-hmm. Every once in a while you would, but about 80% of the time, you were not having it.
No.
I remember being in the London Bridges falling down phase where I would sing somebody else's name into the last verse.
Yes.
So I did that a lot.
That's a pretty good memory for 3 years old.
I remember a lot of age 2 and up for various reasons, but I remember one interesting thing about when you worked. We were in North Carolina in maybe 94, and you were in Cary then, maybe?
Yep.
You were working at Franklin Video, I think is what it was.
Yes.
And my grandpa took me by with our vacation tape, because I always had the big camcorder of his, made a tape of the vacation, and he said that you were going to help us edit the footage, and he just left me with you with the tape, and all we did was play Wolfenstein 3D the entire time.
Whatever happened to those tapes?
I still have them. They're so cringy for me to watch. It's very hard for me to watch.
Oh my! Andy had all of the 8mm film of us, Gary, when we were kids, and I don't know where it ended up.
I think you've got it now, because I had some of it and I gave it to you.
I have two reels that you gave me. Yeah. Andy had all of that stuff and the projectors and all of that, and I think it went away with a storage locker that got auctioned off or something.
Yeah. So I was asking Dale what your impression of your life was with your dad being on the radio all this time.
I didn't get to listen to him a lot because he was on when I was in school. And when I moved up to Champaign, I got to listen occasionally, but I was working most of the time. So it was never really formed from listening to him on the air, but from going into the studio. And I remember, shenanigans and horseplay in the basement of the comm building at SIU a lot. He used to put me in the chair, the wheelchair, and send me down the hallway. Stuff like copy weird stuff on the giant mainframe-sized copy machine they had down there, and record funny things on the computers. Pardon me. But I didn't
all that federal money that you give to public radio in a good way.
Yeah, but I didn't really have a concept of what you did until I was an adult.
Well, I was away from home a lot, covering meetings and stuff. But
that sounds generational.
But I do hope that I instilled in you some kind of a. I think what I tried to do as a parent, is to make sure that you knew enough to be able to determine how to be on the right side of history.
Yeah, well, yeah, and you don't have to justify anything, the whole long course of it right here and right now. And you didn't even have to try hard, because the thing that rubbed off on me the most was the importance of communication of any kind. And it's to the point now where I'm such a snob that I won't do anything unless I can completely communicate with somebody and feel good about it. So that's really what rubbed off. Being on the right side of history, sure, because you always tended to not say terrible things that I heard everywhere else. You tended to speak in opposition to a lot of what I was being fed when I was young. So you accomplished that goal as well.
Well, that feels good. You,
good.
I'm sorry you had to grow up there. I mean, I have a lot of friends who have turned out well that lived there, and I lived there for 20 years, and so
there have to be good people here, and there have to be people trying down here. And for instance, my wife Katie, she teaches literature at the high school, and she is the teacher that I had at that very same high school, who was the friend to all the weird kids and all the gay kids and people who needed to know they were safe in that environment. She's that person now. She needs to be here. And if her being here, part of that is me being here still. I feel good about it. I support her. There's a lot that needs to be done here. So
there is, and there is.
People think that highly conservative areas are monolithic. And no highly conservative area is 100% highly conservative. No. I live in a very red county in South Carolina, and it's at least 35% Democratic. Not enough to elect people, except in a few towns and some places that have been either gerrymandered or just by population density can put together a voting bloc that will elect a Democrat. But most of the offices in the county are Republican. We're covered by a congressional district that's been Republican for a long time. But there's lots of people that think like I do around here. We're just not enough to get our way. But we are enough to keep them from having their way totally.
Yeah, and that's, you can't. When I lived in Southern Illinois, and it was in 1975 to 1994. It wasn't as it is now. I think it's over the years, and Trump's had a lot to do with this, and people just getting riled up. It's different now. It's more blatant than it was, because I was friends with a lot of people who were Republicans, and they weren't so in your face about it, and it was a lot different. And you were around a lot of them, Frenchie and Bull and Army.
Describe what I see as the turning point for that, and it's for most of the nation, I think, was 9/11, and it was building. And I remember saying in my church, the things that were being said, the culture that was trying to come through there, all of that was seemingly justified all at once after 9/11, and I watched it explode around me here. And I thought at the time that would be one of the most defining events of my life, not the actual event, but watching how people changed here around it. And then I lived through Trump and the pandemic.
Yeah.
But anyway.
But that is a good point, that it's pegging it to that time point.
I think that really...
Yeah, was a difference. Because, So, could be. The Republicans wanted me to run for office in Williamson County at one point.
So Dale, do you feel really isolated down there, or do you have people, enough people around you that you're not saying I'm the only one?
I feel incredibly isolated. There's Carbondale, the college town, which has lost a great deal of its strength in the past decade because the state owed the college so much money. College is mismanaged, et cetera, et cetera. It's about half the size it used to be. It's not the liberal enclave of Southern Illinois necessarily anymore. The city government has regressed. It used to be very liberal, kind of leading the area. It doesn't anymore. And there are still those hardened groups. I might call them hippies. There's still people who are willing to live their truth, but they're farther and fewer between. The people I grew up with are older, have moved away. Most of the people inclined to think differently around here did just move away if they had the opportunity. And those of us who are left are generally the ones who made mistakes that landed us here, or had obligations or investments.
And moving out doesn't seem to be an option for you at this point?
Well, I've done it so many times. I moved to Champaign in 2004, and
that's right. In the house that Jay's in now.
No, he had his own apartment.
Yeah. Okay. And I had a job, and my roommate and I were good friends, both from down here. But we both experienced this. He did better than I. Failure to integrate into the culture. It was culture shock. It's only 3 hours away. But Champaign-Urbana is its own culture within Illinois as well. It's different from Bloomington Normal. It's different from Chicago and the suburbs. It's different from Effingham, Decatur. Completely different. And I didn't make many good inroads there. I moved to Portland, Oregon for a short time. I was attached to a relationship, which unfairly ended on me while I was there. I moved to Minnesota, to the Twin Cities, 5 years ago. Did some work up there. Katie couldn't come with me. I didn't make enough money to justify her moving there with me. So I came back. And got a house.
And as you said, and she has an important job. She's got some heavy lifting to do.
And I wouldn't want to blur away from that unless I had a really important job somewhere else.
Which you will get someday.
Could be. Or I could make a really important job for myself right here.
Yeah, you're going to make it. You're going to make it, your project. We'll have you back on to talk about what you do. So, because it's fascinating. And I think it all started with your visit to Franklin Video, but I'm just kidding.
Not too far away from the truth, honestly.
Wow.
Anytime you see an adult still playing video games, kind of justification.
Yeah, I don't know, Gary, if you know the extent to which Dale can do coding and artwork and graphic work and put together video games. So, and he's got projects going, and he's got subscribers to his work. Anyway, so we ought to have you back on to talk about that, because that is fascinating as to how that works.
Not just an amateur, also. I've worked in the industry.
Yeah. Yep. And could totally, the three people who watch it would, maybe one of them will be like, wow, need to hire him. So anyway.
Yeah, this won't be this won't be the breakout attachment of the 30 or 40 or 50 people that eventually watch the show. But you never know who's gonna.
So plus, when I was down this past week helping on the
little USB
I got
drive.
This,
What's on there?
You know what this is? It's something very cool that Dale gave me.
Freedom. It's
freedom, right here. Where is it? It's the magic discount that gets you free pillows. My Pillows. Dale has found out how to hack into the My Pillow website, and when you order it in the cart, the price comes up as zero, so you can order as many pillows as you want. And Dale's been doing this for a while, and I'm going to start doing it now too. Just going on and ordering like 50 pillows at a time.
Are those pillows any good?
We're going to bankrupt Mike Lindell, the two of us, and I've got it now too, so I can help. Well, that's right, he is, isn't he? I thought he was a great businessman.
Well, so is Trump.
He must have gone to Trump University. So,
are those pillows any good?
I've heard people say variable things about them. It's basically a pillow full of shredded foam rubber or shredded rubber. Or who knows what it is. I think, it could be used carpet padding, but they're not unlike other pillows you can buy. There's nothing special about them. He didn't invent some amazing patented process. He's a marketer, and whatever got him off drugs, and if he changed his life and made his fortunes off the backs of a lot of people who bought these pillows thinking they were something different and special, and it turns out they were just not. But yeah.
But that's not what's on the USB. Actually,
yeah, it is. Isn't that? I thought you told me that's what it was. I was going to get on this afternoon and buy a whole bunch of pillows.
If you choose to use that tool for those ends, I'm sure you can achieve it through that.
No, actually, what it is it's a way to get the Microsoft monkey off your back.
Okay, what's the Microsoft monkey?
The $10 a month to use the slowest thing that slows your computer down when you're trying to use it.
The quizzical expression you're getting on my face indicates I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's Linux.
It's Linux.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've Linux is okay. Everything I do doesn't work on Linux. Linux
is what I used to think.
Linux, no, wait a minute.
Linux
not
is
everything you do.
Linux is not a high-powered multimedia machine.
Are you saying that everything you do does not work on Linux, or are you saying not everything you do works on Linux?
Not everything I do.
Okay.
But there's no
multimedia.
Does OBS run on Linux?
Yeah, it can. Yeah.
Okay. And I use Wirecast, not OBS, but OBS could do the job.
It's much better now. Compatibility is much better. More programs put on it. The thing about it, though, is you can make it work if you really want to.
Yeah, I don't think there's a high-powered, full-featured video editor on Linux yet.
But it's always evolving. For my purposes, I just need programming, and that's a native environment for every language. So.
Well, yeah, and there it's probably got many advantages. But all the people that try to tell me Linux is so much better, Windows has been pretty darn good for about a decade now. Yes, it had its problems back in the anything before XP was a dog version of Windows. But starting about XP, Windows has been pretty stable.
XP was a lot better. Oh, go ahead.
They lost me at Windows 98. honestly. That's the last good one that I had.
98 SE, I've still got in a couple of laptops here. It's the most stable platform. I think XP probably comes close to it, but Microsoft Millennial, whatever that was awful.
Yeah,
that was the most god-awful thing in the world, ME. And I'm not a fan of Windows. What are we up to, 11? I'm not a fan. Not a fan. I mean, I have it on this computer I'm using now, but
My bottom line is just if I build a computer, I would only spend $500 on it. But if an average person spends $1,200, $1,500, $2,000, I want to control that hardware completely. I want its full capabilities. And Microsoft mucks it up. You've got 30% of your computer running just to run their updater, just to update stuff you don't even use, just to sync your OneDrive that you don't even use, all that stuff. I just cut it all out.
There you go.
Yeah, make OneDrive go away as fast as I can.
So anyway, that's it.
Yep.
Okay, what do we got? We got the 4th anniversary of your graduation from chemo.
As you pointed out yesterday, it was 4 years ago yesterday that I walked out of my last radiation treatment. I had lymphoma in tail end of 2019. Had this bump at the top of one of my legs. It was real handy to have 2 legs because one did not have a big bump on top of it and the other did. And it's like, one of these things is not like the other.
Oh, yeah.
So I went to the doctor, woke him up. I said, "Doctor, is there something I can take?" And they looked at the lump and said, "Well, it's a lymph node that appears to be, really irritated by something. It's probably no big deal, but we'll have you go to an oncologist just in case, just to be 100% sure." So I went to the oncologist, and the oncologist looked at it and said, "Oh, it's a lymph node. It's all irritated by something. It's probably not cancer. It's probably, just something that, go away. But what we're going to do is we're going to take it out because we can't just biopsy it. It's a big fat lymph node, and if there's any cancer in it and we stick a needle in there to find it, we're not going to find it. So we'll take the whole thing out and we'll look through it and see if we see something. But it's probably nothing." So a couple of weeks later, they call up and said, "It's not nothing. It's cancer." And we don't know how bad it is, and we don't know how much of the rest of your body it is infected. All we know is we see it here. And so we're going to start running tests, and just to be on the safe side, because we do have some cancer to worry about, we are going to start you on a full course of chemotherapy and radiation.
Because they tried putting the lime in the coconut, but it didn't work.
Shook them all up. Mm-hmm. And so as Cindy remembers, I'm sitting there in the first chemo session, the infusion session in the chair and there's, dumping volatile chemicals into my body. And we get the word from the oncologist, "Well, good news. It's the lowest level. It's great. It's stage 1 cancer. It's probably only at that one spot, and having been through PET scans and stuff now at this point, we're not seeing it anyplace else. So we're going to do the minimum 3 rounds of chemo, about 3 weeks apart, and then 20 days of radiation targeted at that one little spot. And then so the graduation at 4 years ago was just that, the last day of radiation. Walking out of that and right into the heart of COVID.
Wow. Which you've had multiple times.
Yeah, I've had it 3 times now. Wow. And if I've got it right now, we'll see. I'll go take another test.
Have you had it, Dale?
Not officially, but had something that was all of the symptoms right after the only time I interacted with people in public for a 2-month period.
Wow.
So I was vaccinated.
I've never had it. I've had all the vaccines and the updates and been tested.
You got the current one, the current vaccine?
Yeah, I got all of them. I'm all up to date.
Yeah.
So
I will be going to get my next shot.
Because I also get, the flu shot and the, what's the
RSV?
The one you get when you're old. Yeah,
shingles.
And then the shingles and pneumonia. I got all of that shit. So, and you know what? I guess I'm just chipped all up, and Bill Gates knows exactly where I am at all times and what I'm doing and whatever. And
Not if you run Linux.
not if I'm on Linux. Yeah, that's right. Well, yeah. I'll have to ask him next time I get a vaccine. Can you give me the Linux chip version? So, I don't know, man. You know, the anti-vax crowd is just, again, let's not...
Weird.
Let's not believe science. We're smarter than science.
Okay, so we're not going to get a Cindy because she got home and she just left again. So,
oh, Marjorie Taylor Greene is smarter than scientists. So, oh my God,
that is so weird.
Yeah. So, well, anyway, congratulations on that. And I did not know. Didn't Dad have lymphoma?
No, Dad died of thyroid cancer.
Thyroid. Yeah. Lymph nodes, thyroid.
And thyroid is not usually fatal, but something went bad, something went wrong for him, and it
metastasized,
spread.
Right? Yeah,
yeah,
like crazy, fast.
He was at a good hospital for oncology, but it got away from him.
Yeah,
so weird.
And how long was it? I thought it was a very short period of time.
He was diagnosed in the spring of '97 and died right around Thanksgiving.
Oh, okay.
I have something you'll probably find fascinating when I finally get it ready to play. I did several hours of interviews with him on video as he was going through this.
Oh, wow. That'd be interesting to hear.
You know,
I had not had any contact with him for a number of years before that.
Yeah, you were kind of officially estranged.
I was estranged. And then, but then you called and said, if you want to see Dad alive again, you better get out here. And so I drove 14 straight hours and got out there, and I did see him alive.
Yeah.
But then, not again. And, and went to the funeral. And I remember his friends being surprised that they were like, we didn't know that Hal had kids. So the three of us were in some kind of a little reception line, and they were like, well, who are you? Oh, I'm his son. Well, we didn't know he had kids. That was weird. And then the other one was weird when you called and you said, we got to find Andy or find out if he's dead or alive because it's going to matter for the estate. And then you called back the next day and said, oh, don't worry about that. You and Andy are written out of it anyway.
Yeah.
And that was just like, okay, well, just add that to, yes, I promise I'll pay for Dale's college education, and then never did. So he did some stuff. Anyway.
Completely over that. I must share a story about the funeral, about the two of you, though, since you brought it up.
Yeah.
It was, I think, Uncle Gary, the last time I saw you in person. I think.
Was it the funeral?
Yeah.
It's been like almost 20 years.
Yeah. And then the other tidbit, and it was the only time, or the last time, not the only time, that I saw all three of you together. And Uncle Andy too. And what I remember is you all belched the alphabet sequence together.
A, B,
yeah. Yeah.
D, E, F, G. We still do it, sort of.
Okay.
Wow. At Dad's funeral, we belched the alphabet.
Yeah.
So, and I remember...
this may be the first podcast that's ever been recorded where the hosts are belching the alphabet.
Oh, I'm sure that somebody else has done it. Anyway, I remember our stepmother turning around. 'Cause I don't remember if it was Sarah or Dale. Somebody was swearing.
It was Sarah.
And she goes, funerals are no place for children. And I just
Sarah
looked
was
at her.
3.
I just looked at her and I said, he was my dad. I'm a blood relation.
Yep.
That's all I said to her. And that's the last thing I ever said to her, I think.
Yeah, I think...
other than the fact that I went in to see Dad before he died, and she wouldn't come in the room. Her husband was dying, and she wouldn't be in the same room with me. So
yeah, I think she was a bad influence on him in relation to you. I had a better relationship. But
Yeah, you did.
And she, by the way, is still alive. She'll turn 104 in a month.
I know. Isn't that nuts? She took
Her
us
brain
aside.
is no longer on this planet, but her body still is.
She took us aside at the wedding, after the wedding, and said, it shouldn't come as a surprise to any of you that I have no, how did she put this? I have no love for the Pierce children. And I intend to make your dad's life better than it has been. And just like blaming us for making his life holy hell. And she did. She turned him on me. I tried to be a good son and took Dale out to visit him and stuff. And then all of a sudden, she comes up with this, Sarah's mom, who I was married to at the time, and on a phone call says, well, we don't consider you to be our daughter-in-law. They still considered Dale's mom to be their daughter-in-law. And I was like, wanted to remind them both that they'd been divorced and remarried. So it was a little hypocritical. But anyway, so the phone call ended with just me going, Dad, is this what you are ascribing to? Is this how you feel about it? And he didn't, he hemmed and hawed. And I said, well, I guess that's my answer, bye. And that's the last I talked to him. I never talked to him again till he died. And, they came to pick Dale up to go somewhere, and they wouldn't come in the house and meet Sarah. They wouldn't see our house we just bought. They wouldn't come in and meet their granddaughter. It was very, very weird once she got into the picture. But that's all I'll say about that because, anyway.
Well, look at us here repairing the Pierce family,
Yeah. It caused a big
before
divide.
the entire world, live on YouTube.
Well, I mean, this happens to people, and it caused a big divide. I'm not going to say anything about it. I felt very cast adrift from the family, and that's fine because I got a family. I'm fine.
Yeah. I felt awkward about it being sort of in the middle of, not quite caretaking for them because they weren't that old quite yet, but I was in the neighborhood.
And you were good to them, and you were good support, and you were a good help. You've been a good help through all of it, and I'm really proud that you did, and I'm glad somebody stepped up and could do it. I couldn't have done it.
Well, you had your own stuff to do.
Yeah. So anyway, that's that.
It's never.
I could go on because
it has
there
never
is
been
something
warm and
else,
fuzzy.
But I'm never gonna. I'm not. There's something else. A couple of people know it, but I'll go to my grave with it. So Andy and I found out something.
I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I think you know.
Yes.
So anyway, that's that.
Okay, so you want to hear what
enough of that.
You want to hear what
Put that behind us.
You want to hear what you missed at the beginning of the show? Because I didn't have the audio set up right. This is the way the show began. Once upon a time I was the king of the dial. I used to be a radio guy. What happened to me? Just another idiot with a pod.
Nice.
This is our sister podcast radio station in Tokyo.
We're multicultural.
JOQR.
Bunka Hoso, Jay.
Yeah. I feel like we should be doing the show in anime.
FM. Bunka Hoso is cultural broadcasting in Japanese.
Oh, that's what
Let me see your identification.
You will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Nice. Nice. Well, you have a lot of time to do this stuff. I don't. I'm retired too, and I don't have time to do this stuff. I'm
Yeah,
down
but you didn't have
Dale, I'm
you're
babysitting. I'm actually still working.
Your radio history didn't involve that kind of fun production, though, right?
Oh,
Most
yeah,
of the
I
time.
did. I did a lot of fun production.
Oh, at what stations?
Well, WILL, we used to put together a lot of really fun stuff for pledge drives. And at WEBX,
that's when a public radio station can let down their hair a little bit at a pledge drive.
Yeah.
And gain a little skosh of personality.
Right. And then, we're not all just sweaty balls all the time. And then we had at WEBX.
Well, yeah, there you probably you went nuts, I imagine.
Yes. And then there was, there was a lot of stuff. There was stuff here and there.
Got any tape?
Yeah, I got some somewhere.
Because I got tape.
But I was in news most of the time. But I did stuff at the Whip. Some of it still runs.
Oh, that's where you got us banned in Russia from the Whip. And by the way, I have disputed our second takedown, which was based on playing our first takedown. And I'm waiting. They're not answering again. They went 30 days, did not answer. They're going to go 30 days and not answer. See this cassette? I started building this library of drop-in stuff in the mid 1980s, and I have 12 90-minute cassettes full of this crap.
I have cassettes full of stuff too, but
just
a lot of
starting to
news
digitize
stories.
it.
Yeah, a lot of mine's news stories. Some are cleverly produced, I think, but a lot of it's interviewing important people, like a guy that was in the Bataan Death March, one of the hostages who was on the plane going out of Iran, and he told me the whole story about how awful it was what Reagan did to them by insisting that the plane be held on the tarmac till he got sworn in and could take credit for it. So, seriously, he wasn't the one that negotiated that. They were already going. They were on the plane, and they thought it was just one more mentally cruel torture by their captors, because they used to do that. They used to load them on planes and go, okay, you're all going home, and then they come on about 20 minutes later and go, no, you're not, and march them back to their cells and stuff. And so they thought it was one more of those, and they were really supposed to come home, but it had to be delayed until Reagan could take office and take credit for the whole thing. It was Reagan, wasn't it? So
I don't remember
yeah, it had to be.
Don't remember the situation at all.
So anyway, he was one of them, and
it's a simple
radio
radio
a lot of
show.
people. That was my station. That's a good radio station. You should listen to it online and support it.
So this is the kind of stuff I pull off those tapes.
It's unbelievable. It's a simple radio show.
It is a simple radio show.
Recognize that voice?
No.
Play it one more time.
It's unbelievable. It's a simple radio show.
No.
Howard Cosell.
Oh.
Speaking of sports, we'll be hearing more of that crap sometime.
Everybody thinks they can do Howard Cosell and Harry Carey and all these.
Back in 2 minutes.
Huh?
Back bathroom break
Back
time.
in 2 minutes, sorry.
2 minutes, okay. See you.
Bathroom break time.
Yeah, probably. In his new bathroom, except he'd have to pee in the straight hole in the floor. They do that in some countries, though. So
Yep. They call
I
it.
had a friend who worked at a company here talking about cultural differences and peeing and pooping. And there was always poop on the walls of the men's room stalls. And it was a cultural thing, apparently, that some of the men there who followed their culture to the T still didn't sit on a toilet. They squatted with their feet on the seat, and then they wouldn't use toilet paper.
That was a fast 2 minutes.
Yeah. They would use their hand And then poop got on the wall when they used their hand to get down off the squat, and then they would just go wash their hands. So they didn't believe in toilet paper and all that. So,
which is why some people would shake with only your right hand or left hand, or I'm trying to remember something cultural about that.
I don't know. Yeah, that could be
India.
Well,
It's India.
I wasn't going to say that, but yes, it was.
Yep. Okay, so let's see. It's time to goof off. We're closing.
Dale's out in the mountains. Look at his hair's blowing.
Yeah.
Drinking a Coors.
I'm trying to plug my phone in, and I'm chaining surge bars off of each other so that I can sit comfortably and not lean in toward the power outlet.
Well, that's something to do.
Yeah.
But we got to wrap up sometime. I have a big week coming up. I have to put on the Illinois Public Broadcasting Council's annual retreat, and our first ever not the first ever. They had a small one before, but the first ever big legislative day, where because the Capitol is under construction, the Capitol itself, the Capitol TOL building, will be in the Stratton office building, which is where all the state senators and representatives are housed right now, and we'll be in the cafeteria wearing our IPBC wear and handing out our one-pagers telling all the good things that public broadcasting does throughout the state of Illinois and why they should support us financially.
And desperately trying to keep anyone involved in that from seeing you here on this.
I don't really care. I mean, we're all adults. Jeez.
Okay, so I want to get to one thing then here, because one of the things we're dedicated to is analyzing the field of radio.
Dale's playing Eugene the Jeep.
Trying to
disappearing.
Charge my phone is all I'm trying to do. Every cord is 8 inches long. Come on.
Don't do a 2-hour show on a phone on a battery.
Hey, that's all I've got.
Okay, so
I'm a programmer, not a media producer.
We're trying to get.
But your hair is awesome.
Analyze the world of radio.
Get hair that doesn't I have to tie mine back, or it just goes straight out like bozo.
You don't have what our cousin Cheryl calls Pierce hair.
Yeah, I do.
No, I have 25%. I have 25% Greek DNA, so some of it's that.
That's
you don't have that.
See, how about that?
Something.
Let's see you do that.
Jay's let his hair down. Got nothing back here. And as you noticed, it's got what you were calling the
Caesar.
The Caesar.
You got the Caesar
effect. That wasn't his hair. That was a garland of.
Yeah, it was, but it's
Yeah. So we are dedicated on this program to analyzing, commenting on, and learning from the world of radio. And so I found this. They call it a day on the life of a DJ. It's only 2 minutes, 20 seconds. It's time to.
Well, it's a station called the Eagle. There's only like 100 of them consultants.
Well, first of all, he's putting on a tie. No.
Good morning and welcome to another Early Bird Morning.
Good morning there.
6.9 The Eagle, your number one rock radio station. Be sure to stick around during the next hour of the show for our Early Bird.
Hey, he's got that disc jockey sound, Jay.
Because everybody talks like this in real life.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. That's going to get us taken down.
Here's Guns N' Roses.
Keep watching. Stay tuned. It's not over yet.
Oh, somebody's calling.
For the audio audience, he's looking at the hotline.
Looking at the phone.
Looking at the phone.
Good morning, The Eagle.
Hey, man, this is The Eagle.
It sure is, pal. How can I help you today?
Can you guys play some Stairway? What?
Come on, man. Seriously. Stairway again. We've played it about 6 times already in the past hour. Want to hear something else? Anything else?
Stairway, man.
I mean,
Turning a little more real there, Jay.
Side Led Zeppelin. Anything. Like, how about, you
Black
heard
Dog.
Heart in a while?
Nah, man. Stairway. Stairway, man.
Okay. Fine. We'll play Stairway again.
Dude, he's gonna play Stairway. Cool, man. Later, bro.
Dude.
Got to cover that up. Can't play that.
So it's like an
So
8
that's
minutes.
that's not what you were expecting, is it?
So it's an 8-minute song, right? So if they played it 6 times already, that'd be 48, and you leave time for commercials. And he played no other songs but Stairway to Heaven that hour. That's what my hair looked like when I was a rock and roll disc jockey in the 70s. I used to rock out at KGMO, Cape's #1 music station.
Yeah, but so I mean, when I first saw that, day in the life of a disc jockey, and when it started, I was going, "Oh yeah, he's doing the disc jockey thing."
No, but
it
that was
turns out,
funny.
yeah, he is parody. It was a parody, so
It was a good one. Yeah, we're not going to play Zeppelin. Get the lead out of it. It's a get the lead out of it weekend.
There's our WGRD lady.
Who's that? Oh yeah, that one. Yeah.
Today I'm going to show you what goes into putting together a good radio show.
Yeah, there was no irony in that.
No, that was. Consultants have their place, but come on. That's all I'm going to say. They tell me to get a haircut before legislative day. I thought about it, but barbershops are closed tomorrow, so I can't.
Barbershops are closed on Monday?
Yeah. Because they're open Saturday, and they have to have 2 days.
I need to boost you up to full screen so everybody can see.
The Ben Franklin.
That's what he looked like.
Actually, would you consider being a Benjamin Franklin impersonator?
I could.
Yeah, get a tricorn.
Think about that. I should do that.
Now that I'm looking at it, dead ringer.
What number president was Ben Franklin?
0. Never was. Come on. I have a history degree.
Still a father of our country.
He was key to our country. He was a key figure to our country.
LOL.
Oh, God. Okay, well, I'm out of stuff. What do you guys got? A jury of your peers.
Since there's 3 of us here, get it? Jury of your peers? Peers?
Yes, I know, peers.
I was thinking that would be a good whole podcast title sometime, but we'll make it a quick segment title. The question is, could you be an unbiased juror in the Trump trial starting tomorrow? Because they're going to start picking the jury tomorrow.
No, I could not.
No.
Any good jury trial stories? I have one.
Oh, I got a million of them.
I wanted jury duty for a long time because my mom got it twice. My wife was on a murder trial, and I got my letter, and I got into the next round, and then they said, wait 2 weeks or whatever. I waited 2 weeks, and they said, we don't need you. So I was crushed.
Oh, man. I covered probably 1,000 jury trials in my days as a news reporter, and never got tired of it.
I think I sat in on a trial that you were covering one time.
Huh?
I think I sat in on a trial that you were covering.
Oh.
In Marion, or one of the...
Yeah, probably. Williamson County.
What I remember is they were interviewing jurors, and they were asking...
They were doing
them,
the voir dire.
Yeah, voir dire. And they were asking them if they own a gun, and everybody did, because apparently this was a gun crime or something. And what do you use it for? Target practice. Do you have a gun? Yep. What do you use it for? Target practice.
Shooting hippies.
I have... This is the lead into my story.
Okay.
So, in the middle of COVID, sort of toward the end of COVID, I was still living up in Wake County, Raleigh area. I got a jury summons. I had been living there for 30 years, and I got a jury summons in the first 2 years, and the the company I worked for, the boss wrote back to him and said, we're a small company. We only have 2 people that can do the jobs we do, and we cannot afford to have Gary gone. And I never saw another jury notice for 30 years. But then I got one. And once again, it was COVID time. And this was going to be the first trial that was going to be held after they reopened the courts to bringing people in live and not just doing everything on video. And so they all had us wear these masks that had the window in them so that people could see what our expression was, except that what happened is what is happening right now.
You're fogged up.
They all fogged up and nobody could see anything from what was in the mask window, but it was very uncomfortable.
I think that, I think back sometimes and I try to come up with what was the best, or I don't know, it's not the best for the circumstances, but the most interesting I covered, and I think I covered a trial where the prosecutor successfully convicted a man for killing another man, and the dead person's body was never even found. But
you need a body.
Apparently you don't need a body. So.
Apparently you don't. Well, in this trial, I was. Let me finish my story. You can get to your story.
Go ahead.
I got. I was in the voir dire, and they asked me what I did. I said, "Well, I'm a retired audio video engineer, and I currently produce a podcast that is somewhat left leaning." And I knew that was going to get me kicked off, but it took a while. They interviewed a bunch of other people, and then they read off the list of names of people they were booting out, so they booted me out. But I was still able to write or to produce a podcast based on that experience. Okay, and now here's Jay with his story, and then I'll tell you another story.
Oh, and I can't. This is documented in a book by Sheriff Harry Spiller.
Oh.
And he was a cool guy. He was sheriff of Williamson County, and there were a lot of oddities happening in the county at the time, and he had to investigate. He wrote about them in a book. I think it was Murder in Southern Illinois or something like that. It was about all these weird murders, and there was one of them and the one that they didn't have the body, and but the whole testimony came down, and so I guess it was the guy charged with the murder, and I don't remember who said what, but the gist of the story was this guy comes over and to this guy's house, and he ends up saying the guy at the house and his wife was there. And the guy was saying something about the guy's wife, and he goes, well, go ahead and get you some or something. So the guy starts like doing the guy's wife, and then the guy pulls him off, throws him in the bathtub, and beats him to death with a baseball bat. And then allegedly went to a strip mine pit and threw the body down there, but it went partway down and hit a tree and stopped, so he covered it with some leaves. Well, anyway, they never found the body. So that was one. And then the other was the sex ring out in Harrisburg, Illinois, with cab driver and some others that had across the street there was a sex ring going on and this and that. And I don't remember all the details, but it involved them setting up the guy or another guy. Anyway, that they enticed him out to a strip mine pit on the premise that he was going to get to have sex with one of these girls or whatever. And instead they killed him and threw his body down an old mine shaft. And then there was the guy that killed his son because the son had let all their fish off the leader, or the stringer, the fish. And it turned out that they'd been drinking Wiedemann's beer for like 24 hours before this happened.
We know about Wiedemann's beer. That is Stroh's.
Yeah, we did Wiedemann's.
Stroh's, was it?
No, Stag.
Oh. It's the
So there was
the stuff. It's the stuff that they drain off the bottom of the vats just before it's time to clean them.
It's the good stuff. It's got all the hops in it, and so so there were a number of them like that went on. It went on, and then on a serious side, I covered.
Do these people ever get convicted?
Yeah. And then there was the guy that's terminally on appeal and his wife. They're still in prison, but they were a member of they lived out near Crab Orchard Lake, and they were a member of the Trogs motorcycle club. And they're what they used to do is go down to this parking lot called Vaseline Alley, which is where all the gays would park, and then as the car would come in, they'd flash their headlights in a certain sequence, and it would mean, yeah, I want to get picked up, or I'm interested in meeting someone, whatever it was, because, gays couldn't just be in public at that time. So they would go to this parking lot, and that's why it was called Vaseline Alley. You can figure that out on your own. And anyway, so they used to ride their motorcycles, the Trogs, and they would they'd like to whoop up on the gays with baseball bats or whatever. So there was this one guy that was there, and they went and they whooped up on him a little too hard, and they killed him. So then they took his body, and they got rid of the body. Well, this is how the body was found. There were a couple of guys just out walking in the woods, not unlike what Dale liked to do in, the Shawnee Forest and stuff. But this was in the Crab Orchard National Wildlife Refuge, and they came upon an old car just sitting there, kind of rusty. And they thought, it'd be fun to tip it over and stuff. So they did, and the trunk lid popped open, and this headless corpse rolled out. And it was the guy that they killed. And the head was gone.
Sounds like the beginning of half of the NCIS episodes I've seen.
So where was the head? Well, they never did find the head, but they attribute it to the guy that was accused in it, worked at I think it was an auto crushing yard or something, and they figured he took it up there and threw it in a car, and it got crushed into a cube. Anyway, he's still like appealing, and there's people that believe he didn't, that support him and stuff. But I kind of halfway fell in love with his wife during the trial. I was very attracted to her. She was a bad girl. It's one of those things. Look her up online. Rita Nitz, Rita Nitz, Nitz. Richard and Rita Nitz. And Richard's in Menard, I think, and she might be in Pontiac or somewhere like that. It's been a long time, 30 years. Anyway, that was one of the more bizarre murders. There were a lot of them.
I got People versus Nitz.
Yeah.
Supreme Court of Illinois.
Yeah.
Oh, it's been a book.
Yeah, it's been a book. And I just gave you the thumbnail version. You don't need to buy the book now.
You could get it on Amazon.
There she is.
Let's see. Okay. The picture kindly come back into my screen. I don't know where.
Well, her whole thing was it wasn't her and her husband or whatever, and it was this motorcycle gang or whatever. So, but she got charged with the murder too. There you go. You can kind of see it.
I've lost control of my computer. Okay. Well, okay. So you got a crush on her.
Yeah, I had a crush on her sitting in the courtroom watching her testify and stuff because she got all prettied up.
Wow, so professional.
She cleaned up.
You know what? I don't need to know this shit about you. I sat there and respected you for all these years, and then you come up with this crap. So.
No, you told me more compromising things when I was younger. So I've always had the same level of respect for you.
Very low.
One of my favorite lines that you used to use was, you liked coming over when we lived in the cabin in the woods, but all my drunken friends throwing you off the swimming dock into the lake. That was a favorite pastime of my friends.
Yeah.
to get drunk and go stand on the swimming deck and throw Dale in the lake.
It
was a
just
ritual.
one time.
I think
Just
it was one time. But I think they kept throwing you back in or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I used it once. But what you told me you liked about that place was that we got to pee outside in the winter because the water pipes froze.
Mm-hmm.
The water pipes came over. They weren't buried all the way because they came up from the lake area and they had to come over rock. So they just came out of the ground and went over the rock and then back underground. So they would freeze there and you wouldn't have water. Well, it was freezing. So we would get up and pee outside and then go to the rec center at SIU and take a shower. So
I would like to completely disavow any connection that I have to this podcast at this point.
And then there was the salamander in the bathtub.
Yeah.
That you made me get, and I clamped the glass down on it to get it, to take it outside and cut off part of its tail, and its tail was like wiggling around in there. But you were a trooper, man. You toughed it out in that little infested place. That place was something. It was beautiful, but
it's all right.
It was like being out in the woods.
This upbringing has had no lingering effects on you at all, right, Dale?
Nothing he did
in front of my dad.
Nothing he did or didn't do could overcome the profound effect of public school and religion on me.
And I was trying to counter that too.
Yeah. Noted.
Okay, you'll be back to tell us all about that on a future program.
Yeah.
But you didn't answer the question. Could you be Gary?
Could I be
a jury in the Trump trial?
No way.
Okay, neither could I.
I mean,
I wonder if they'll find any. How will they find any?
As you know, from someone who deals with people and news in the general public, there are a lot of people out there who this is their life in public news. That they don't watch the news, they don't listen to the news, they get stuff from their friends on Facebook, maybe, they'll get people that don't have a clue. But are those the people that you want making important life and death decisions, or freedom and loss of freedom decisions in consequential cases?
No. So. But that's the way it works.
You know, and I might actually be able to sit there and say, well, I certainly absorbed a lot of what he has done, but if you're telling me that I have to listen to what evidence you guys present and then make up my mind based on that and ignore everything else, I could probably do that. But they would never let me.
But you don't live in that vacuum.
Well, no, I said,
There, now I look more like you guys.
My PC and mobile devices are almost linked.
I was too bright.
Yeah, they would never let me, but well, it'll be interesting to see. We're not going to learn much about the jury because they're going to keep them pretty hidden.
Yeah, as well they should, because they'll be getting threats anyway from.
In theory, the trial starts tomorrow.
Well, so we can all just hope.
Yeah, I'm not worried about the jury as much as the delay tactics and the loopholes that are the entire strategy, and always have been his strategy, costing us time and money and interest waning, the election happening in the meantime.
Yeah, and everybody.
I don't have.
Everybody worries so much about money. Oh, you shouldn't give money to public broadcasting. Yeah, your $1.60, I think it's up to. You shouldn't do this, waste money, Democrats just waste money, tax and spend, yeah. But they don't seem to worry about all of the freaking money these, as Dale says, the delay tactics are costing. And they do cost you money.
Yeah.
And so nobody seems to care about that, hypocrites. Now you got me pissed off. Now I'm in a bad mood. Now I'm going to have to go out and dethatch some more lawn. I'm cooking ribeye steaks for dinner, by the way.
Shoot.
Got to go downstairs and make some ribeyes.
You know what that music means?
Some more lawn. Yeah, we got to go. Dale, it's been great having you on. It's been great seeing
thanks.
you again. I've seen you more in the last couple of months working on the bathroom.
That's why I asked you to help me.
It's been great. It's been awesome.
So
We're
you think you want to
reclaiming
get into this world of podcasting,
family
eh?
stuff too.
Me?
He's in it.
Dale, you think you want to? Are you in it? Are you doing it? Are you doing a show?
This isn't even my first time. No, I'm a media personality already.
Where would we find you?
You can't. I separate what I do and my personal life completely because of threats to my life and doxing threats that I've received over video games from people older than me.
Okay, so it's not the media that you do. You are creating media, but you're not personality media.
No.
Okay.
But if I express any bit of a personality, people latch onto it, which is why I've been attacked.
Okay. Well,
me too, and I can tell you more about this NPR thing and this crap and this person that was just, oh my God. I could read you some of her Facebook comments anonymously, because I told her, I said, maybe other than this podcast, I'm not a public figure. I used to be. This podcast, I used to be, but I'm not now, and so she better read the libel laws before she comments on me anymore. And she said, good, have your attorney contact my attorney. So I'm
it's always fun.
Going to direct message her and ask her attorney's name. And then I'm going to have an attorney contact him. Because she was saying some pretty derogatory things about me. And I'm not a public figure. So, I don't know, man. Get a gag order slapped on her.
Well, okay then.
Gag me with an order.
Well, okay then. All right,
I know,
we'll see
it made
you,
me mad, man. It got me worked up. And I was just trying to be nice to her and explain stuff. But is the music done?
Some people just don't want... Yeah, the music ran out. I think that means the show is over. I need to take a quick look at my calendar because we are going to be heading to...
Montana
heading to Hawaii. No, we can do one. We can do one more.
Tycoon.
We can do one more show.
You're going to
the
Hawaii?
End of the week.
What the hell?
And then we're heading to Hawaii for a couple of weeks. I might take the beefy laptop that can do a show from a laptop and do one from out there. We'll see. We'll see if we feel like it.
Well, I've got a little time Thursday. Friday's okay, but then I got to leave in the afternoon to go to a convention for the weekend. I got some stuff. I have physical therapy again Thursday and an appointment with stuff. Tuesday, Wednesday, I'll be in Springfield. So, I don't know. Maybe a little time on Thursday, but I got a meeting at 10, and then physical therapy at 3, and then
you back on Sunday?
Friday. No, not till Sunday afternoon.
That might work. We'll see.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, it'll be like 4 o'clock or something before I'm back.
Okay.
Got to go back to the Quad Cities for a convention.
Oh, cool. All right. We will do a show when we do a show. And does anybody remember what the name of that show is? Why, I just happen to have it right here.
With Dale.
Over.
And out.
And out. We should let Dale do part of that.
Over.
And
out.